This is the LEGO Friends, the television series, the Friends apartment set. Released on June 1st, 2021, it's been out for just under a year now. It's an 18+ set that consists of 2,048 pieces and retails for $150. At first glance, that's a pretty good price per piece ratio, which we always love to see. But before we get into the review, I want to remind you guys, if you're new here or if for some reason you just forgot, that I'm doing LEGO set giveaways. The next giveaway will be drawn at 500 subscribers, and we're almost there, but we're not quite there yet, so there's still time to enter. All I need you to do is go down into the comment section and comment what your favorite minifigure is, and then subscribe to the channel, like the video, and you'll be automatically entered to win that giveaway. Don't forget to hit the bell so that you can be notified when I do that giveaway, and perhaps you'll even see it live. Okay, that said, let's get into the set review. Now, it might be a little bit confusing to you because you can hear that there's pieces in this set, and I've already built it. Here, oh, I'm breaking it. This one is mine, this one is my brother's, but I already built mine before I even started this channel, so I'm stealing his that he hasn't built yet for the box. Unfortunately, that means that I don't have a time lapse to show you of the build process, but we can still talk about it. I especially want to talk about this build process because well, it wasn't exactly my favorite. And that's going to be a general running theme for this set. And I know you're not used to seeing me say anything negative about LEGO sets, but I have to be honest about this one. Now, why do I say that the build wasn't the greatest? Well, first off, if you're looking at the set, you can tell there's a lot of exposed studs. That's a personal design preference on my part, and we'll talk about that later, but when you're talking about a lot of exposed studs, there's not a lot of fancy techniques. In particular, since this is such a large set, you're building a lot of floor. That's all you're building, is floor. Well, floor and walls, and you know, it's not very entertaining to build floor and walls. To be honest, I don't think there's really any way around this. It's 2 apartments, so obviously you're just gonna be building a bunch of floor and walls. But that doesn't change the fact that it's really no fun to build floor and walls. You do have some nice mini builds thrown in there for the furniture and whatnot, but even these mini builds, there's not anything really complex about them. They're just, you know, a couple of tile pieces and a hinge piece for some of the chairs, and I don't know, it just overall, I felt like the building style of this set, it was just really lacking. The only really interesting building technique you get is for this slanted window in Monica's apartment, and even then, it's not all that complex. Real quick though, I do want to mention that there are a lot of stickers in this build, and it's necessary for all the Easter eggs that they want to throw in there, and they succeeded in throwing those Easter eggs in there, but at the expense of stickers, lots and lots of stickers, so prepare yourself. I will say, as far as the builds go, the highlight for me are these removable sections of rug or carpeting. These look really cool, and the carpeting looks sweet. They've got all the textured tiles in there, you attach all the furniture in, and it's just entertaining. You also have this little chair functioning system for Joey and Chandler's Lazy Boys that was cleverly designed, simple, but definitely effective. Honestly, I think that if they made a set that incorporated these 2 rug spaces and maybe a television for Joey and Chandler and the television or some art for Monica's apartment, you could sell these as little dioramas and you wouldn't have this big set that would have to go with them. That said, let's talk about the design. And if you are a Friends fan, you're going to absolutely love this set. It is stocked full of little references to the series. And if you think that you might not get all of the references right off the bat, don't worry, because LEGO has little areas on the instructions pointing out little Easter eggs that they've put into the set, and I thought that was really fun. Like I mentioned in the build section, most of this set is just walls and floor, and I don't like the look of exposed studs, especially on a set that's supposed to be a display set, like 18+ designer display set. It would have taken a lot of tiles to make the floor look like wood floor, and I can't even recall whether it is wood floor or if it's carpet or not. But if you're like me and you just don't like the look of studs, you might not enjoy that aspect of this set. Now the set is divided into 3 little parts. You have Chandler and Joey's apartment, you've got the hallway, and you've got Monica's apartment. Let's look at Chandler and Joey's first. Obviously there's a lot going on in this apartment, just like in the television show. You've got Chandler and Joey's foosball table. They also have their little kitchenette area with a tiny microwave and a little stove, as well as a refrigerator, their bar stools, and a gallon of milk that Joey can drink in, I believe it was under 30 seconds. Obviously, also included is the canoe, which is another iconic moment from the show, and you've got their yellow couch and the little glass top coffee table. I don't want to point out every little Easter egg for this build because I want you to enjoy it if you decide to get it for yourself, and you can find those little surprises like I did. But as I mentioned before, Joey and Chandler's lazy boys can recline backward, which is a nice little feature, and they seem to be watching a familiar television show. I think my favorite little feature of this room is that on the front door they have a sticker that shows the whiteboard, and you have multiple choices for what you would like to have written on that whiteboard to reference maybe your favorite episode of the show. Moving on from Joey and Chandler's apartment, let's go through the hall. And it's just the hallway, but it looks like it does in the show, and you have that broken plate from the cheesecake episode, another iconic moment. Interestingly though, the hall is one of only 2 sections of this build where you have an angled wall, so in some ways it is a more interesting or complex build than the rest of the set total. Now let's move on to the most iconic room of the Friends apartment, which is Monica's apartment. Decked out with purple walls and a seemingly out-of-place chaos to the entire area, this apartment is replicated pretty well by the set. You've got everything from the mismatched chairs at the kitchen table to those weird little, I guess, theater things on the wall by Monica's bedroom. Of course, on the front door, you also have that strange frame around the peephole. And around the back, you've got the balcony that doesn't show up super often in the show, but is a nice little addition onto the set. Other features include the storage closet that Monica just throws all of her stuff to make the house appear to be organized, but in reality, she just shoves it all in the corner. That was pretty fun. We also have the writing desk by the window, and that window is framed up by some nice banana yellow, I think is at least what I would call them. It's like Laffy Taffy yellow. That color for the curtains and drapes can be found throughout the apartment. I do want to point out some of the things that I really dislike about some of the details of this design though. For one, I talked about how fun and interesting these little sections of carpet were, and that's true. It is a nice build. That's my favorite part of this whole set. But the television in Monica's apartment is just held on by one of these, it's like a little Technic peg, and it spins freely all the way around. So if you ever move the set, it spins out of place, and I would just really like to have a tighter, snugger fit so that that TV doesn't spin around. It seems like it was kind of rushed, and there has to be a way that that could be held on there firmly, but it just kind of irritates me. Maybe I'm overreacting to that. You guys let me know. Let's move over to the kitchen to point out another thing that I dislike. Now, obviously, you can see on the shelves, we have more of those exposed studs, which I can see being needed, unavoidable, let's say, for the floor. But I don't like at all that these shelves are just simple 2x6 or 2x3 tiles that are thrown into the wall, because those exposed studs on the shelves are just so ugly. And LEGO has pieces that have studs on one side and smooth on the other, so they could have done that. They could have used those and made it look better, but they just didn't. And maybe it was the piece count they wanted to keep down or something like that, but if I could change one thing about this kitchen, it would probably be that those shelves have exposed studs on areas that don't have any sort of can or container on them. Another issue I have with this kitchen is this little angled wall, which is the only other angled wall in the entire set outside of the hallway. But just like the television, it's just kind of fit in there loosely, and it's not gonna pull off. It's held on there, but it will wobble back and forth, and you can see visible gaps between the walls of the angled wall and the straight walls. So I'm not a fan of that. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. I just don't like to see visible gaps where there should be no gaps. Like, one of the main features of this build is that it's supposed to have walls, and people don't have big old gaps in their walls. Now, final thoughts on the Friends apartments. If you enjoy the television show Friends and you want to display something to show your true fandom, I think you will really enjoy this set. When it comes to displaying it though, make sure you have a lot of space, because this thing is huge. It will take up an entire bookshelf. And in my experience, it is just awkward to try to display because it's very large. It has a lot of surface area, but it's not very tall. So if you put it on like a desk top or something like that, you don't get any height from it. You just need to give it a ton of space. Overall, I think that the Lego designer did a really good job faithfully recreating the set of the television show. But unfortunately, when you're just building 2 big apartments and a little hallway in between, there's only so much you can do to make it entertaining, fresh, and fun for the entire build. Let me know your opinion in the comment section below. I'd really like to hear what you guys think about this set and about builds like this in general. Until next time, guys, keep building. I'm Joe, and I can't wait to see you in my next video.